Hello and welcome to the VR Untethered podcast, where we are once again untethered from reality and once again back to being a duo. I'm not Brad, neither is he.
Now that's an interesting one. We are very untethered from reality this morning. And hello.
Hi, I'm Josh and that's Brad, in case you forgot.
No. It looks like a very nice day there. I'm just
it's a very sunny day outside, nice and warm, and of course because I've got the heater turned on.
You're warming the entire city. That's so nice.
Yes, I am. It's actually like negative 25 outside of those windows, but because I'm using my little space heater, it melted all the ice and the snow, and people are walking around in their shorts.
You should be going to Houston.
Yeah, Houston and Dallas, and yeah.
I think they'll pay for your airfare at this point. My magic trick is going to be making this couch appear every now and then, so just keep an eye out.
And when you try to do it, it doesn't work.
Yeah, okay. Sure, why not? It's been that kind of morning. And this morning, let's start with your highlights.
Okay. Well, one of my biggest highlights of the week is Redacted. No, but another highlight that I can talk about is I have a 5-port subscription from when they were offering a year for $27 or whatever, and it expires in April, and I just realized that I haven't used any titles off of it in a couple of months, and I should be doing that. So,
Yeah.
So I downloaded Ven VR Adventure, and I went through the first 2 or 3 levels of it, and it's pretty fun. It's kind of like what was it on Astrobot on the PSVR. It's a similar idea to that kind of. You're on a platformer. You are controlling the character in front of you with your joystick and the buttons and whatnot. And you are technically a character in the game, but you're just controlling him. I don't know if in later levels you gain the ability to reach out and move things or whatever, but
it seems like it's similar to Lucky's Tale, which
yeah
was on
and periodically you have to go and rescue lost members of your own kind or whatever, and they picked a weird name for the bad guy, Bruce Johnson or something like that.
Oh, Bruce Johnson! Oh my God, I'm gonna run now.
Bruce Nelson.
Bruce Nelson. Bruce Nelson's nothing.
And there is a resource on the planet that makes people live really long lives. So that must be why Bruce Nelson came to the planet, because he wants to steal the resource so that he can live forever, or something like that. So.
Very dramatic.
But I'm like, it's kind of weird to see such a prosaic name for the bad guy. Yeah.
Well, yes. That's sort of like the Stephen King story, The Stand, which has been airing on CBS Direct, where the bad guy's name is Randy Flagg. Something that you really don't expect from a
Randy.
Randall Flagg.
It should be Randall, but yeah.
Randall Flagg, the walking dude, the
The
dark
Dark
man.
Man, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he's a recurring, the bad guy character in a lot of Stephen King books, yeah.
right. He also changes. He keeps the same initials, but changes his name
Yeah,
occasionally.
yeah.
He just appears at weird times, and now with the new movies coming out where they can write alternate endings to the books, which they shouldn't do.
Probably not.
You, you know, it's like, okay, that was an interesting take. I'm gonna go back to the original ending in my mind, though, if you don't mind, because this was.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, that reminds me of the butterfly effect, how there were the theatrical ending and the director's cut ending. So I'm like, yeah, theatrical ending is better. Director's cut ending is depressing and less courage on the part of the protagonist.
Oh,
You know,
so much less. It was
it's the
ridiculous.
easy way out.
I
You
have
know?
no idea why they would have done the director's cut, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah, that was horrible. But one of my sisters said that she preferred the director's cut ending. I'm like, what?
Yeah, well, all different strokes for different folks.
Yeah,
But I would wish that they, well, they do that in the games to some degree. I just wish they would change more of the story at an earlier point,
yeah.
as opposed to just the end.
Well,
That's
yeah, and I mean, I've got Down the Rabbit Hole, which technically has 3 ending variants, but it's just the dialogue at the end so that changes.
right, which is
Really, I mean, you can make the different choices along the way, and they have no effect on the gameplay other than cosmetic of certain things.
right,
But then at the very end, your choice changes the ending dialogue.
which is not changing. You want the branching to change. You don't just want
Right,
the end to change.
right,
So if there's not
right.
alternate branches, there's only, like you're saying, what are you going to do? Change the animation or change the dialogue? Ta-da! But
Yeah,
that's not really
yeah,
a replay.
right.
Uh,
Yeah, and like, yeah, it's cool that in one ending of the game, it sets up for the official Lewis Carroll books, and in another version of the ending, it does something else and that, but ultimately, it's all the gameplay is exactly the same.
right, so you have to play it 7.5 hours to get 3 different endings, as opposed to the
Yeah,
2.5 to 3. That's crazy. That is,
yeah, yeah. So I prefer different different endings done more like it was done in uh, Dead Secret, where you have an ending where you fail, you have an ending where you succeed. You have the different the death ending, then you have a different you accuse the wrong person ending, or
right.
so.
Well, I have to go back in and try
And,
a lot of my games again.
and the branching,
Right.
because obviously if you die, you don't get to do the rest of the game until you restart.
Well, I've seen some really amazing improvements in death lately.
Yeah.
That's been pretty impressive. Um, the one I'm disappointed in now is Tetris Effect. They really have to just bump that 90 hertz. I'm not sure why they're not doing that. It does
Yeah.
not seem to be a major issue for
I
anybody else.
don't
Uh,
know. My wife thought about getting that, but she ended up making the same decision I did, which is basically, well, if it's just the Tetris and the cool thing is the visual, plus I think the visuals would distract me.
well, they do, but the whole point is it's a Zen thing because you have to overcome the visual to be
Right,
able to play the game as
right.
well, and it is good in that respect, but I'm just saying the visuals should be awesome.
Okay,
And, if they just flipped it to 90, they would be,
right.
unless they'd get uglier. I'm not sure, that might be the problem.
I, I don't know. Maybe they are 90 and you just don't realize it.
If that's the case, then there's a problem with Tetris Effect. They're going to have to give you a 10% discount, the same as Mist, to really get you in there. That $2.
Yeah, I'm gonna be debating if I am finally buying that today or waiting a little bit longer still.
Did they
I'm
add
gonna
the
buy
journal?
it at some point. I know that.
Yeah, I know too. And it'll probably be the day before it goes on sale in a duo pack. But
Right.
did they add?
I already own.
Did they add the journal to Mist yet, or no?
Not yet. No.
Why should you
They
buy
did
it?
say that it is coming though, so that they are
That's
working
great.
on it.
Yeah, Climb 2 is coming as well, and you might have to climb.
Who wants to know that they are going to let you know that they are coming?
Right. Don't forget about us. We know we've been coming soon for much more than soon. So
So we can take that news off of our news list now.
if anybody's waiting for the Climb 2, then they've already know what's going on with this
Yes.
insane debacle. It's
Yeah, exactly what was going on with the climb.
well, no, because the Climb actually did make it onto one of the headsets.
Eventually, yes.
Uh,
And presumably this one will eventually too, but who knows when? They're not telling anybody. They're just telling us that they're going to tell us something.
will it make it on before Battle Wake or not?
Probably before. I don't think Battle Wake is going anywhere at this point.
Yeah, I've learned to not rush too quickly. The game will still be there the following day, but my
Yeah.
money won't. So
Right.
I'm being much more cautious these days. Aside from the fact that I probably have
Every title already?
every, well, not every title. There's like
That's why
three,
I said almost.
right, almost every title. I haven't been on a buying spree in the last couple of days, but I have more titles than you could shake a stick at, and I plan on doing more than shaking a stick at them. So, are you looking for your stick?
I'm shaking a candlestick now.
Okay, well, it was a purple candlestick. I feel rejuvenated and energetic.
It was an Advent candle.
A what?
Advent candle.
Oh, okay. That wasn't quite enunciated. It sounded more like an effin candle. So
No, it was an Advent candle. How'd that? That
I understood that.
enunciated enough.
Yes, more than enough.
All right, so moving on to new releases. We didn't have any official store new releases, but we did have Pickup League Hockey is now available through App Lab for free. That is a game that we have played on the Go and the Go VR, in my case. And it's a fun hockey simulator game, even though you kind of have Orbis VR like avatars. You know, little people,
Yeah.
in the toy style little people, I mean, like avatars. But it was a lot of fun back in the day when we were playing it and helping Wraith beta test it and all that. And it currently does not have voice chat because he was running into issues where the Oculus voice chat system was causing performance issues. So he is looking into a third party that will allow him to put voice chat back in a performant way, and there will also be able to be cross-platform when he gets it on Steam, which he is looking into getting it on Steam as well. So.
Yeah, I enjoyed Pickup League Hockey in the day. It's moving along, but at this point, I really am looking for a little more reality to seep in. It's like
You You want to look like Wayne Gretzky then, huh?
No, no, never. Actually, please, dear God. Um, but but aside from not wanting to look like Wayne Gretzky, I would just like to have the avatars not look like they came off the foosball game and
Yeah.
joined me on the ice. That would help.
That's a better visual for the avatar, actually, than the little people thing I was mentioning. Yeah, it's a football.
I was wondering why
Right.
you were going to get to such a lengthy explanation as opposed to just going for the foosball guys. But I figured
Right.
I'd let you go. You seem to be enjoying yourself.
But that said, even though it's got simplistic avatars and graphics, the mechanics are still fun. I'm not much into hockey in the first place, which is why when it was no longer being beta tested and no longer available on the VR, I stopped. But if you are into a hockey title, there really are none right now that are official titles. So
Yeah.
this is a great hockey title, even though the avatars are football characters. It still plays fine.
But that was also the problem that they had with 2MD football also is, they have to understand that VR didn't die. And it not only has it not died, it's matured.
Yeah.
And the people that are still
it's a tween now. It's no longer a toddler. It's a tween.
It might well, we'll agree on adolescence, the degree of movement from prepubescence into the adulthood phase. We can argue later, but yeah, right now I just want a bit more maturity in the scale of graphic quality that you're going to give me. I mean, that's the whole point of putting in this processor.
I have a feeling that when they officially drop Quest 1's support, which I am anticipating will happen this year.
Yeah,
I mean, I've heard from sources that they are legally obligated to officially continue support for 1 year after they discontinue manufacture of it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it'll be officially actively supported. They might start practically to deprecating it before they officially deprecate it. But I anticipate that once they start, so don't tell me, but pushing it aside, we're going to see higher level stuff because the developers will be designing for the Quest 2 only, and that's not having to keep parity with the Quest 1.
Which is fine because honestly, right now I see that Oculus is selling refurbished original Quests for $200.
Yeah, and that's another thing we can knock off the news list now.
Okay. Well, it's a new year. We're going free here. I'm commanding. So, it's just a swinging lifestyle we're going to adopt for 2021, as opposed to that devastatingly oppressive 2020 that we had.
So anyways, I think we have talked to pick up League Hockey to death by now.
Yeah, but then again,
they moved on to other stuff.
Right. Yeah. Let's do that. Move on. Moving along.
Upcoming titles. I believe we have Hyperdash coming out next week.
And the Climb 2 here is coming at some point.
No, we have news about the Climb 2 coming out next week. We have news that, hey, we're going to let you know next week about more news.
So the official Solaris killer is going to hit the Quest next week.
Yeah, I believe that I have heard that it's supposed to be coming out on the 25th.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. Also, we have Warplane awaiting approval on the App Lab, which is kind of a highly anticipated one. I mean, it's already available on SideQuest, but it'll be. We don't know exactly when it will get approved and when it'll be available, but it could be as early as next week. To possibly never know. And it supposedly is a very good flight sim war plane simulator game. So hence the name Warplane.
I was going to say, I think it was pretty self-explanatory. The takeoff and the landing. You're hoping the landing is your idea and not your enemy's idea as to, hey, you should land now.
Yeah. And another upcoming, not necessarily title, but new game mode is Population 1. Season 1 is coming out on the 25th. So that's going to be a big, huge update, and they have teased various things. They have, I think, 5 new weapons and items, and I think one of the things that they teased was the shield soda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't believe that they'd be able to go much further than they had, but it certainly sounds like they've set their sights on another mass improvement to the game, which is incredible because it was a great game to begin with. So
Yeah.
once again, that's one of the things I try to explain to people with some of these games on the Quest. You buy one, and at the end of its lifespan, it has become a different thing than what you purchased.
Yeah.
It's much better, much fuller, and some developers continue to do that. And I hope that those developers are the ones that continue to thrive. The ones that make one iteration of their game
and then stop.
And then stop. I am, at one point I wanted to support indie developers, but if they're not going to support me, then
Right.
I'm not going to support experimentation as much as development.
Right, and that's why things like Aspire 1 VR Operative, that was, I mean, it had a really rocky start, but the developers kept working on it and they improved it, and as far as I know, they are still working on it. They are still doing patches and improving things. So they are still working on it, which means that they are doing it right.
Right, but they released a broken game. That was a problem.
True, that was a mistake on their part. They got a little rushed. They succumbed to the pressure because people were waiting for it, and it was highly anticipated, highly hyped, and they released it a little bit earlier. But at least it was not as bad as Cyberpunk. It was not as broken as Cyberpunk.
I guess Cyberpunk, the brokenness of Cyberpunk was determined by the machine you were attempting to play it on, it seems like. And,
it seems like PC had the least broken version. The PlayStation had the most broken version, along with Xbox being just second or something like that. Or,
right, only the most popular platforms were the broken.
Yeah. But that was a debacle.
Agreed. It's like, but that's why I'm saying it's at one point I used to rush into the fray and Kickstarters and all this other stuff. And what I've learned is by the time these guys get their stuff together, sometimes it's too late, especially if they're working with Facebook headsets, which change more frequently than some people's underwear. So I don't know those people, but
Yeah, I mean, and right now I've only got 2 the Kickstarters backed that I backed a long while ago. I've got Alicia backed, and I've got Firmament backed.
Okay.
So Firmament is being made by Cayenne, the developers of Myst. So
I'm sorry. Hopefully your other Kickstarter will actually come to, that's the problem, is that they look nice. It would be nice to actually play them, within a couple of years of actually giving them your money.
Right.
As
And
opposed,
yeah, I mean, I'm being so patient. I know that I am just spending the development of the game. I'm not necessarily buying the game to have available to me at any definite point, because there when a person makes out a Kickstarter campaign, they are saying this is my plan, but the best laid plans of mice and men go off the rye, right?
actually, the saying is "oft gang agley," but
Yes.
yes.
Well,
But
I translated it into modern English
okay, yeah,
rather
well,
than rather than Scots English.
the original
Going
Burnsian.
off the glay. Yes.
Yeah, yes. I have seen some people's eyes sort of glaze over when you go, well, the best laid plans of mice and men oft gang agley, and they what?
Well, I used to read Robert Burns. So the weaver's getting gaffin made to the weaver's getting ga. I read the back gung nerd neck to the weaver's getting ga.
Okay, so yeah, he wasn't the most poetic of poets. I got you. I got you.
Oh, he actually was. It's good poetry, but if you read it in the original Scots the dialect,
You're not going to understand what he's
yeah,
saying. Yeah, I
yeah,
know. It's a different language. I know. It's
yeah. So, anyways, let's move on to the news. Puzzling Places had a major update, and they got rid of their uh, Patreon-only app in SideQuest, and they're moving everything to the Puzzling Places the beta app, which is on the App Lab. So you can still be a Patreon and can download the puzzles and all that. It's just they're consolidating it into one version of the app, and that's one that's on the App Lab store.
What are they
And they
charging
made
for
a
that?
big update to the interface and how many puzzles are in there and all the mechanics and everything as well. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just asking how much they're charging for it at this point.
The Patreon has two tiers, if I remember right. One is $10 a month, where you get the monthly puzzles and the weekly puzzles, and the other is the $5 a month, where you only get the monthly puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay, that's really a lot of money for a subscription to a puzzle game, I think.
um, um, well, keep in mind it's not necessarily that's how they're going to keep it once it's finally out, but this is funding the development of it.
Once
No,
again, yeah, we
yeah,
discussed that.
it's an alternate to Kickstarter way of doing it, basically.
I feel like it's Color Spaces. Is that Danny Bittman's game?
Uh, the color space, yeah.
Yeah, it seemed to have a much more robust uh, idea behind it in terms of what its growth would be as to what it actually has been.
Yeah, the color space is kind of just
Dead.
for a little bit, I think, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so
And it was well done, but everything in it is so short, and you can burn through all of the coloring things in it, and I mean, still less than the 2-hour refund window.
yeah, and it's the replayability because of its lack of shading.
Right.
Really, once again, I think we had talked about it when it first came out that the lack of shading was an issue.
Well, it's got shading, but the shading is predetermined. It's already baked in.
Well, once again, lack of determination of shading if you wish to be
Well,
complete.
yeah, all you can choose is the color, and at first it was a really limited palette. Now they have since expanded it to a lot more colors, but it's still a fairly limited,
Right.
a fairly limited palette.
Right.
But you can, of the colors that you can choose from, you can choose on a scale from fully saturated to a lot darker version to a lot lighter and brighter version.
Right,
So,
but not within the same, like if you have a flower, you can't actually shade a part of the petal.
no, but depending on how he's got each scene set up, you can shade each petal a
Right,
different color.
right,
But yeah,
depending on, but once again, it's just an entire piece. It's not the
right.
ability
Well,
to
yeah, yeah,
any
and that's
sort.
what I mean. It's got the shading baked in. You're just applying a color to put on top of the shading or under the shading, whichever way you want to look at it.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it's limited though. That's all
yeah,
I'm saying. And
yeah,
I'm surprised that he stopped because he was the type to stop development. As a matter of fact, at the beginning, he just seemed to be going over each game more than Lucas went over Star Wars.
right.
Getting them refined and refined, and then all of a sudden, it's like, okay.
Yep. So, anyways, speaking of art and the coloring things and whatnot, the open source saga of Tiltbrush continues. Now we have a WebXR version called Silkbrush. You can access it via your browser on your Oculus Quest or your Oculus Rift, I would imagine, if you have a VR capable browser for that. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I don't know what it's added. I think they've added the multi-use cases.
I don't think Silkbrush has the multi-user
Oh, okay.
the multi-user aspect, but Rendeavor, which makes the oh crap, I'm blanking on the name now.
Alcove.
Yes, thank you, Alcove. Um, they took the Tiltbrush open source and made Multibrush, which is a multiplayer version of Tiltbrush. So, so now we have OpenBrush, Multibrush, Silkbrush, and I think there's another one out there probably too.
I know,
Uh,
but it's nice to see that people can do this without having to pay the price we had to pay for entry into the art world. But
yeah, and I mean, who knows how many people there are that might have just grabbed the existing source code, recompiled it, and put it on, and have just basic vanilla Tiltbrush that just their own free version of it.
exactly,
You know?
which is actually kind of cool.
Yeah. So, moving on, we have online co-op coming post-Quest launch of the Wizards of Dark Times. So there's kind of two bits of news wrapped up in there in one. One, it's coming to the Quest. Two, after it comes to the Quest, they're going to be having online co-op multiplayer in the Wizards. So online co-op gesture-based spellcasting combat.
I mean, seriously, isn't that what we've all been waiting for? That's like the VR geek's dream.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, just right. The only other thing they could do is actually put the lightsaber in your hand. It's like
I didn't know there were lightsabers in this game.
You haven't played it yet, have you?
No.
Neither have I, and I doubt there are lightsabers. But if the developers are watching.
Well, I mean, technically, if you're a wizard, you could probably make a spell where you have a spear of fire coming out of your hand. No.
A spear of fire is hardly a lightsaber, Josh. I would expect.
I know. Well, it spearing out of your hand, just as, a jet of fire coming out of your hand. How'd that?
Okay. I'll take that one. Well, it
A
sounds.
plasma stream of fire coming out of your hand. How's that?
Ooh, now I'm scared. Um, yeah, I haven't played.
So speaking of which, as an aside, did you know that someone has actually made a working lightsaber,
Yes, I did see that.
and it's basically a plasma stream.
Correct.
They can only keep it going for what, like 10 minutes before they run out of propane or
Something like
something
that.
like
I
that.
don't even think they got to 10, or they just stretched it to 10
Yeah,
minutes. But it was cool. It was
yeah,
definitely, it was a lightsaber. And
yep, and they could even make it different colors, by adding different coloring agents into the mix.
but at this point, you would think, okay, guys, we could get over it now. Lightsabers are from the original Star Wars, which was from the 70s. So
Yeah, but the real life lightsaber cannot deflect bullets. Maybe if the bullets are traveling slow enough, it could evaporate the bullets, but probably not.
that's true, as proven by the late developer of the plasma lightsaber at the at the grand opening when he was showing people how well it deflected bullets. God rest his soul. And
So, anyways, there was a demo put out by Modbox that I watched just yesterday, so it was really, really breaking news, essentially. Where someone, the developer of Modbox, linked together Windows speech recognition, the GPT-3 AI thing, and a natural speech synthesis thing from Replica, and put it all into a very simple VR scene where you can walk up to an AI character, start talking to them, and they generate a response back to you that's read out by the speech synthesis. So, actual carry on a conversation with an AI using
NPC.
voice. So, it's pretty cool. It's also very slow, which I would imagine would speed up with some further iterations and whatnot of all the tools used. But it's like, hi, well, what hot dog do you have for sale? Hi, we have 3 hot dogs for sale. One is the regular hot dog, the second is the premium hot dog, and the third is the super spicy hot dog.
Spicy.
Yes,
Yes.
not spicy, spicy.
Yeah, no, I was on Dania Boulevard the other day, which turned into Dania Boulevard by but nothing butchers speech like auto text correct.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. But still, even though it's a little bit janky right now, it's still cool in
right.
the concept.
Yeah. In other words, we can get AI NPC characters that will react to us with the speed of a real human right now. And we're hoping to actually speed that up a little to get to.
Yeah.
But I have been in those stores where that person has been thinking about those hot dogs for as long as you are. So I'm.
Yeah, I mean, and I wasn't even exaggerating there about how long it took in the demo.
I'm not either. So
Uh, but yeah, it's cool, and I mean, obviously there are going to be limitations to it right now, and it's probably nowhere near production ready for inclusion in the VR game. But as a proof of concept demo, it was pretty cool.
well, I don't know if you put that into the same game with that little thing on the back of your head that you could blow up the aliens' heads, and you could say, "I'm going to blow up your head now," and have the alien go, "Oh no, my brain hurts," and then
No, No, go. You are taking too long in answering my question.
There we go. Now it's a game. 1999 on App Lab, and
Yeah. So, the next bit of news we already spoke about, refurbished Quest 1's on sale from Oculus for $199. I don't know if I recommend getting it or not getting it because it's going to be discontinued and unsupported before the end of the year.
but it is only February. It is a good experience.
Yeah.
It's also a backup, but I think that way before the end of the year, the forking has already begun. You already have a different experience on Quest 2 than Quest 1 on several games. And as these new games come out, I believe they are being developed with the Quest 2 in mind, and they're knocking it down. Because when you download the game, it gives you the option of downloading to the Quest 1 or the Quest 2 if you own both.
Yes. Yeah.
And there might be more of a difference than just saying, stick it on this headset. There might be a different version that's actually going on that headset.
It could be, yeah. But yeah, it's a good deal, and if you've been wanting a VR headset and you haven't been able to quite justify the price of even a Quest 2, this is a great price, and it's still an awesome VR headset. And you can do a lot with it, even if it's deprecated. I think Guy Dan would be still trying to support it for as long as he can with virtual desktops, so you can still use it with Steam and the Oculus, the PC titles for a while.
And I'm sure App Lab will still develop for Quest 1 as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I would think all in all, it probably is a decent deal. I'm not particularly keen on buying refurbs, but
yeah. Well, who knows if these are actually refurbished, as in they reassembled them and circling them up, or if these are back inventory that they had as official refurb replacements, you know, which are actually new, but they're intended at the
and you won't know until you get it, and even then only if it's scratched. So but if you don't have a Quest and you're watching this show, what do you have? And the other so if you want to get one for your mom or your little brother or something like that.
Our next bit of news is, and maybe I should have put it in the highlights for me, but I mean, it was kind of boring to be a highlight. Metahumans. There is a VR demo version of the Metahumans demo. So you can go into VR and with the PC, VR obviously, so virtual desktop, Link, direct native Oculus Rift, or a VR headset, you can experience the magic that is Metahumans in about a 45-second long talk from the two characters. And I gotta tell you, the lady character is short. Her head is below my chin.
You're tall.
No, I am average American male height.
So you're 5'10"?
I'm 5'11". But
okay.
Yeah. So yeah. So I am average American male height.
I was gonna say
he is short. I'm like, here, let me crouch down so I can be eye level with you.
I think you're exceeding, though. Average American height is sort of more like in the 5'10", 5'9" and a half region.
It's probably gone down some, yeah, but it used to be 5'11". But yeah, it's probably a little bit on the shorter end now. But still, it's around where I am.
Right. No, I understand. That could be a disorienting experience for sure.
So yeah, but yeah, it's impressive that they had realistic motions and all that. If you have the chance, you go download it, try it out. It kind of wish it were a little bit longer, maybe a little bit more interactive, but this is the demo that Unreal made, and so someone just converted it into a VR app. So basically, so
Sounds like a lot of work for a very short experience, honestly.
yes, it is, which is why I didn't include it in the highlights because it was kind of underwhelming. I mean, it's impressive what they were able to do, but it was underwhelming as an experience. Does that
Gotcha.
make sense?
It does. It
So,
makes perfect sense.
and we have Oculus version 25 changes. If you haven't gotten it yet, it is coming to you, whether you like it or not. Some of the changes are good. Some of the changes are not so good because I seem to be having a little bit more tracking issues with version 25 than I did with previous versions. Every now and then I'll have random tracking loss. I don't know why.
That's since the beginning, though. Honestly, I have had random tracking loss.
And I think one of our Discord members said that he was having extreme wobble and tracking loss all the time, and he had to manually switch it to his region of the world, refresh rate, and then reboot, and then it was resolved. Right. So basically, a good idea when you get this update, reboot afterwards.
At this point, I think I told you on the last time, even when I download a game, now that games are in the gigs, we're not downloading 8 megabit games, we're downloading gigs. It's always good to do a reboot. It really is. It's going to refresh it and get you working right. You might even have to do 2.
Yeah, you never know. And it seems like it takes longer for the home environment to pull up when you pause a game or you quit a game. It takes longer for it to pull up, and it takes longer for the universal menu to show up. And I mean, I'm guessing that's to alleviate some bugs that were happening, because if it pulls up right away, that could maybe cause bugs or something. I don't know. Maybe they hit a deliberate slowdown to make sure everything loads in properly. I don't know, but it takes a little bit longer.
I've noticed that people have noticed that, so it's obviously noticeable.
Yes. And I got the Messenger update yesterday, so now I have a link to my Facebook Messenger, and if I want to do Oculus chat, I have to unlink from Facebook Messenger so I can use Oculus chat or something like that. It's an either or thing right now. In my opinion, it should be both accessible at the same time. If you have an Oculus friend, it goes out as an Oculus message. If you're communicating with a Facebook friend, it goes out as a Facebook message.
Yeah, gee, you would almost think that it was owned by one company that could figure that out.
Yeah. Anyways, there is more information on all of the changes and the updates at Upload VR, Road to VR. Just look around on Twitter, ask your friends on Facebook. We just wanted to address it a little bit. And I would have gone into more detail, but we're at 48 minutes right now, so I want to get to the rest of our news also.
Okay.
The Winter Games are starting. This is a big tournament series put on by Virtual Athletics League. It's VR Winter Games. It's not the Olympic Winter Games. It's VR Winter Games. So between yesterday, February 19th, which is the earliest any of them started, and March 20th, which is when the last ones end. there are tournaments and leagues and all sorts of games. Some of which you wouldn't necessarily associate with any sort of athletics, like Arizona Sunshine. You wouldn't just think of that as than a
That's sort
VR
of,
athletics game.
it's sort of skeet shooting. You just don't think of it as a winter
Yeah,
sport, you
kind of,
know.
I guess. So, but yeah, I'm going to hopefully this will work. I'm going to share my screen real quick so I can pull up the schedule here. Here we go. That should be showing on your screen now on my part of it. As you can see, we have Arizona Sunshine, Audio Trip, Dance Collider, 11 Table Tennis, Groove Gunner, In-Depth Unchained, Marineverse Cup, Ninja Legends, Pistol Whip, Powder VR, Power Beast VR, Propagation VR, Ragnarok, Real Fit, Swords of Gargantua, Star Shaman, Swordsman VR, The Walking Dead, Until You Fall, VR Workout, VZ Fit, Vertical Shift, VFC, Void Racer Extreme, and Walkabout Mini Golf. All have tournaments going on in this 2-month period. Or actually 1-month period, really.
Seriously, The Walking Dead and Walkabout Mini Golf.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And In Death
Some of
Unchained.
these are just high score based. Some of them are actual player versus player competitions.
Uh-huh.
So, if you are interested in more information about it, go to onearena.gg/wintergames, and you can find out about all of them, register for whichever ones you want to register for. A lot of them are, actually, I think all of them have monetary prizes. Virtual Fighting Championship, which is VFC, is they are doing kind of a little bit of a weird sounding system. There's a prize for the winners, obviously, but there's also everybody who participates can earn a Steam gift card. If you participate, you get points. If you win, you get points. If you place a bet and win on the bet, once you are out, you get points. And if you get enough points, it turns into a Steam gift card. So.
Okay. It doesn't look like they have a very long schedule.
Yeah, that I think that's not quite completely 100% accurate. I'm not entirely sure. It has not actually started yet.
Well, it looks like
According to the calendar, it should. But yesterday they went into a 48-hour last call. Now's your chance to get registered for it. You got last chance to get registered for it. If you're not registered at the end of the 48 hours, it's too late. So.
Okay.
I'm in that one, so yeah.
Better hurry because it seems like it's going to last about 8 minutes. And
Well, no, that's the one that we were talking about in the pre-show. That 3-minute rounds, best of 3 matches, and like 5 rounds per match.
mm-hmm.
So it's up to 45 minutes of virtual reality boxing. It's going to be quite the intense workout.
Yeah, but why is Thrill of the Fight not there? Or why is... I would think that Thrill of the Fight would be one that you would include
yeah, but
in a style competition.
There's no multiplayer on that one yet. It would have to be a high score one, and maybe they just didn't want to deal with the logistics of trying to track who was in, who was not in, and the scores, and I don't know.
I saw several non-multiplayer games listed along.
Well, yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, not all, like the Pistol Whip. That's obviously not a player versus the player game. That's and it says it's Gleam, so I'm guessing it's a. I don't know all the details of that, but like the Propagation VR, that's a zombie wave shooter. It's a high score based one. You know, Audio Trip is a high score based one. You know, Power Beats would be a high score based one because I don't think that it has a multiplayer mode. So
It also didn't specify which Walking Dead, whether it was
well,
the
when
Sinners
you
version or the tourist version.
when you actually say go to register, I would imagine that it would specify which one.
Okay. I would just think it's a
It says
little.
Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners.
Okay.
So.
Tourist edition. Is this for the Quest or the PC? It's still not getting me there, you know.
Probably both. No, but because I think it's a high score based one.
I would just think when you have something like that going, you would specify which, platforms.
Right. This is Oculus or Steam. Event details are to be determined at this point.
Oh,
But the total prize pool is $500 plus a Quest 2.
wow, they have a lot of Quest 2s to give away. Everybody's giving away a Quest 2. I think at my supermarket, if you buy 5 rolls of toilet paper, you get a free Quest 2. So,
wait, you're allowed to buy 5 rolls of toilet paper at your supermarket?
Oh, no, you're not allowed. If you could actually get through the gauntlet and make
okay.
5, you get the Quest 2. It's not just for picking up 5 rolls of toilet paper, please.
Right. So, moving on from that, we have Zero Caliber Reloaded coming to the Quest in Q2 of 2021. So this is not a direct port of the existing early access Zero Caliber title. This is a revisioned with the Quest 2 in mind game. So supposedly.
Well, it's Q2, so let's see.
Q2 in Q2.
Yeah, Q2. Okay, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean it's been a highly popular title, even though it's still early access on Steam and on PC VR. So I would imagine that it will do quite well when it comes out. So
I would think so.
And we obviously have a dearth of this kind of game.
Dearth or Darth?
Dearth.
Dearth.
We have a lacking of this kind of game.
Yes, we do. We have a lacking of a few different. We have an overabundance of some games.
I'm being sarcastic. We actually have an abundance of this kind of game. We have Onward. We have Contracted. We have Pavlov.
Yeah, I know. The lacking FPS became the. Yeah. We can call it the Quest FPS now at this point.
And our last bit of news that I have here
is
stay tuned next week because we are going to have important news about the Climb 2. No, our actual last bit of news is Striker VR is working on consumer version of its haptic VR gun. So they got a $4 million funding investment to be able to move into the consumer VR space. Their guns have been reported to have a very powerful haptic punch, and they've been used primarily at location-based VR places.
Okay. High price.
What?
High pricing.
Yeah. And in this article I'm reading here from Road to VR about it, it says this is their location-based version is able to, with the haptics, mimic a wide range of weaponry, all the way from a charge-up style sci-fi gun to a chainsaw. So if it gives the hard to controlness of a chainsaw, it's got strong haptics.
Yeah, I would say if it's going to give a chainsaw, the sci-fi gun, that could be, like, okay,
Yeah.
fine. But the chainsaw, that's
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. That should be
Uh,
interesting.
yeah. So we don't really have any additional details yet, except for as a first look at the design that they are aiming at, which I will pull up here real quick. Why not? Share the screen for this. So this is the design teaser that they gave out. It's got trackpads on either side of the foregrip, and it says possibly 2 additional capacitive inputs above the trigger. So, so how exactly this will work in, who knows? We don't have pricing. We don't have if it's going to have Quest support. So who knows? But it's still worth to keeping an eye on, and because who knows, it might come to Quest, and now we finally have an aim controller.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I'm certainly glad you held on. Do you have any other news that's as intriguing as the sci-fi pulsating chainsaw gun with the possible haptics?
Texas Sci-Fi Chainsaw Massacre game coming Q2.
They're going to be fighting with it. I think it's going to be Arizona Chainsaw
Massacre.
Massacre.
Nope. That was the last bit of news that I had on the docket for today. So, unless you've got anything, we hit the 1 hour, 2 minute mark. So,
Wow.
my thumb disappeared. Oh no, my thumb!
Oh yeah, okay. That's an interesting. It's my thumb too.
That's okay. I can do a really weird thing with my thumb.
Huh?
I'm double jointed.
No, I noticed. It's sort of double jointed.
Yeah. It freaks some people out.
Oh, I know. It's when you can do the whole twisty hand, touch the back of your nose with your pinky, and
I can do that.
You're good. You're real good.
But no, my sister is even more double jointed than I am. Her middle finger joints, when she does this, they all bend backwards.
Right.
So
that's the kind
I've got a flat hand. Hers is like, and that way on that part. So it's like, I can't do it without actually breaking my fingers, which I'm not going to do. So
if you want to, I recommend Swords of Gargantua.
It will help me become that flexible permanently.
Excellent finger breaking. It is, without a doubt, the only game that has attacked me twice and left me physically scarred. But
yes. So, anyways, unless you have any news that I didn't have on the docket, I think we are done, and we can.
Yeah, the one news I have is that nobody is really giving great reports on any Knuckles type grips for the.
I know. I mean, I would love to have a Knuckles style actual controller, not just the strap, but an actual controller that's a knuckle style for the Quest 2.
I'll settle for the grip.
Why can we not have that complete finger tracking?
It's fine.
And because okay, part of the reason I get a little bit upset about it not being existent is because I am hard of hearing, so I am technically part of the deaf community, which is underserved in VR because there is they had to create a new version of sign language for VR because you can only do this, 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 or this, depending on which way, and this. Some of them maybe allow this,
Right.
but those are the only universal thing that, or a relaxed or an open, so it's very limited hand shapes compared to what the actual human hand can do. So it makes it, they had to create a whole new version of sign language based around, okay, all these fingers operate as one. Yeah.
Right. That's sort of limiting. I can see your point, but it is a specific case usage, so it's something that, in an industry that's still developing an actual haptic gun, you would have to expect that when it comes down to serving
I know.
the deaf community.
Like,
We're
but
waiting for the Climb 2.
But the index controller, the Knuckles index controller, it can actually do that. It's got the finger tracking capability to be able to track each finger separately. So if I wanted to, if I had that, which I don't, and I wanted to, I could actually do all of the signs in the sign language. I could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I could do all those.
No, I understand what you're saying, but have you read the reviews on the index controllers? You just can't play games. You'll be able to communicate with other people that don't hear, but
not the greatest controller in other respects. But
exactly.
the finger tracking is
Right.
actually good, and it would be useful. And I can't wait until that aspect becomes more mainstream.
Right, and as well as face tracking. All of these things need to be incorporated at some point.
If you're in a hand tracking title, you can do some of them, but then you get into occlusion, which is where when you do signs that are like this, both hands are going to disappear because they are touching each other.
Exactly. So, but then again, look what we're talking about, hand tracking. 2 years ago, that would have been something that we wouldn't have even been talking about seriously. So you can't really complain about occlusion.
Those are things that I am looking forward to. Because I can get away without needing such a sign, because I hear well enough, especially if I'm using my bone conduction headphones.
Mm-hmm.
But other people, they are completely deaf and they need to be able to sign. And, so they are left out of a lot of the social VR games because they can't sign and the games don't allow typing. Some of them do, but it's cumbersome and laborious.
You're not going to really be able to get a great game of Saints and Sinners going with typing.
No. It'd be like THER space I. Oh, I'm dead.
Right, exactly. And I don't know if we get that far, but that was hoping for a lot.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they develop, but obviously they're working on all of these things. I think once they use that that neural link, that's not the full
neural link requires a surgery. This other thing, the next mind, if that is developed well enough, it could learn to recognize when you are just thinking of a word and then put that word out there for you. Yes.
Right. Or just even pre-thought like they
Yeah.
do with your Android. You know?
Basic shapes that are showing there, and it could be fine tuned with enough m- 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 machine learning and training per user, probably because it need to
Right.
be per user.
Right.
You know, so I don't know how much training you would have to go through to make it recognize with 80% accuracy. But
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying
who knows?
specific use
But
case. But
at
somebody
some
probably,
point, that is probably going to come. Yeah.
I would think so. I mean, even if they use I mean, you mentioned Dean Koontz in the pre-show. Even if you use the method he has, where you could look at the letter and actually just let them know
Well,
and
yeah.
spell things out that way, optically using
Well,
that
yeah.
mind,
Yeah. Yeah.
then that's another way of communicating, and give you a choice
Yeah.
of
I mean,
words.
it would need a faster response time than the next mind
Right.
currently has, which is like, oh, you're looking at a bottle. Yeah.
Well, I couldn't tell what you were looking at either because it was invisible to the camera. So yes, now it's a bottle.
Yes,
Before
I
it
know.
was you were holding liquid.
Invisible.
Right. I'm holding my liquid in my
Look,
hand.
the hand vanishes.
I know. This is a weird. Skype is definitely bizarre in the way it chooses to
Yeah.
put in backgrounds or not. Look at the electrical storm my sofa is going through over here.
Yeah. So, anyways, long story short on that, there are all sorts of exciting things coming down the pipeline for accessibility and whatnot, and it simultaneously feels like is racing ahead and is not going so fast enough.
Well, we are early adopters, so I think it'll always be like that for
Yeah.
us. And long may it wave. One thing you have to say is this has certainly helped in times of COVID. This has just been remarkable as far as being able to still hang out with your friends and play and do all these other things around the world and not have to subject yourself to some
Right.
crazy stuff. So. Yeah, the disappearing bottle trick again. I don't know, man. Even the blue part disappears. I'm not sure why.
Well, because it's not flesh toned and it's not in the um same as the tablet is recognizing as a person. So, anyways, it is time for us to end this.
Yes. End
So,
this.
thank you for watching. If you stayed on and heard our rambling at the end, thank you. We apologize for rambling, but drag your friends over and have them like and subscribe right after you like and subscribe. We would greatly appreciate that.
Greatly.
It makes us feel validated.
It does. And that's important. It
Yes.
is.
And if your friends don't want to validate us, invalidate them until they validate us, and then you can validate them again.
And we do validate parking. So
Yes, I was gonna make a joke on that too. So
I know.
thank you for making that for me. Now I really feel validated.
And you can park for another hour. Um,
So on that note, have a validated week and have fun. Bye.
Bye.